So you remember that, like, that when Lars Ulrich replaced his snare drum with a bell, he was like, "Ba-bung!"
On the Saint Anger album.
Yeah. So this just explains why very quickly. So
This interview with the producer Bob Rock.
Bob Rock, we all remember Bob Rock. People were kind of astounded when Bob Rock produced the Black Album because he was the kind of guy that did like Bon Jovi and stuff like that. But basically, he made Metallica sound like a top 40 band. He made them. He it's the ultimate example of just distorted pop music. Like, the guy from Blood Incantation says, it's a perfect example of that. It's an ultimate example of that. But anyway, so what do we got here?
So they asked him about the snare sound, and he described how it happened. He said they went to their practice space in Oakland where they had originally, rehearsed with Cliff back in the day. And I guess Lars was just very fixated on recapturing that experience.
He does that.
And as part of that, recapturing exactly his memory of the sound.
He found a bell, and he replaced his snare. And from that point on, it was like, ding, boom,
so
boom.
Bob Rock says Lars just kept staring at the drums.
Ew, like, it's that drum.
Finally, he sat behind and said, "Just give me a snare drum." And I had bought a Plexi Ludwig snare because I wanted to try it. And he put it on the drum kit, and he said, "That's the sound."
Lars is just...
And Bob Rock said, "What?"
This is at its point where, like, Lars was collecting, like, $1 million, like, garbage art. Like, if you watch the some kind of monster documentary, Lars is fixated on this, like, completely just garbage art. It's just, like, literally a guy smearing paint on a thing, and it's like, that's $1 million. And Lars is like, isn't it beautiful? Like, Lars was in that realm of his life. Maybe he still is, who knows? But I think that kind of decision and that kind of way of life can coincide with such a snare sound.
Well, they
loss
definitely
of touch with reality.
Reached the point in their career where,
Yeah, loss of touch. If you watch, that's a good documentary. You should watch that because this is about a band completely out of touch with reality.
Like, no one's going to tell them they're wrong.
Yes, no one's telling them they're wrong.
And they think because they're so successful,
I have a vision.
The things they think are good.
Yeah, and they're telling Kirk he can't solo anymore, which was a good thing, actually. Because Kirk at that point was just his foot was just attached to the wah wah pedal. It was just like wow. All the solos were just like wow wow. It's like I could understand them being like, yeah,
It's enough.
Yeah, can you not do that anymore?
It's enough.
But honestly, to be honest though, this was Lars's. Ironically, I know everyone hates this. This is the pariah of all Metallica albums. Saint Anger. I mean, yeah, the songs were garbage, of course. The lyrics were complete garbage. But his drumming, despite the bell drum sound, I think was the most dynamic it's ever been. It was unpredictable and dynamic, and I thought it was good.
I'm gonna be honest. I've never listened to Saint Anger.
Listen to it. It's hard. It's a musical equivalent of Battlefield Earth.
My time is valuable.
Yeah, it's not a long album. And it's not like Metallica always has very a lot of lyrics. This like he just kind of says one thing and kind of repeats it. Like it's some terrible new metal song.
What were there good lyrics on the last one, Hardwired?
No, not really. No. But I mean, if you really look at like Ride the Lightning or Master of Puppets, that those are album.
Yeah, you gotta reach back
Justice
there
for All.
The lyrics.
Like those are known like these sort of epic songs with a lot of lyrics.
Is Enter Sandman good lyrics?
No, not at that point, not anymore. But like like a lot of they're kind of known for these sort of epic lyrics. That like a lot of like young metalheads, including myself when I was young, really like, oh my god, Fade to Black, that's me, man. Like you could kind of just relate to that, like that's my life. I think I'm gonna kill myself now. So yeah, like things like that. So, but his drumming was very dynamic, and like, and no one agrees with me, and no one will ever agree with me, and I'll get heat from that. Comment down below if you hate it. But yeah, tell me what you think about Lars's drum, not the bell snare, but just drums in general. Like they were just like Justice for All obviously has that particular sound, but it's a very predictable, like very mathematical drums on that. Like Saint Anger was very loose and very just dynamic. It just felt very free and organic to me. I don't know. So I bought like $1 million painting. It's beautiful.
But Bob Rock concludes saying, "So I'm okay with the flack I've taken because it's, I guess, technically his fault that he gave him the snare."
Yeah.
He says it's a fucking snare drum sound. Give it a break.
Yeah. He says, yeah, he's right. Whatever. No one listens to the album. Oh, why did I get there?